programming music into a computer became a thing, the drums were the first casualty. The drums! Why the drums? Well, that makes sense. After a full-blown orchestra, the drums is actually the most financial and technically difficult instrument to record in a studio. A decent drum recording requires at least 3 microphones, decent acoustic treatment, and a lot of space to record your drum kit. Not to mention that different genres of music require different kinds of drum kits altogether. You can't be using a jazz kit to record metal, right? Sup, I'm Avik D'Souza, and in this week's drum programming tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to program realistic sounding drums. This is actually a follow-up to last week's bass programming tutorial. The best thing about programming drums is that you can get away with using your stock drum plugin within your DAW and get it to sound pretty realistic. Programming drums is possibly the most easiest of all the instruments to program because it requires the least technical information in terms of music theory. Just a bit of understanding about how rhythm works and time signatures maybe, but that's about it. There is definitely a long-term advantage to learning how to program your own drums, as you are not a slave to all the drum loops that your library contains. Now, what if you wanted to have a groove that your library does not contain and you wanted to program it? Well, if you could actually program your drums, I could make the case for you that you can actually create anything you want, whenever you want, however you want, for whatever song you want or whatever genre you want to use it in. That removes a lot of restrictions to your creative abilities. So why would you want to use loops after you learn how to program really good drums? Programming drums is also an excellent way of not sounding generic or basically not sounding like everybody else. A decent amount of mastery in programming drums will actually carry you a long way forward. You will actually sound very good with very basic skills, and the better you get, the more realistic you start sounding. I could actually program drums pretty damn well before I actually learned to play them, and after I learned to play them, I learned to actually program a little differently when I start thinking more like a drummer and less like a programmer. But that's inconsequential. You can actually program pretty good drums without learning how to play them. You just need to watch people play them. Also keep in mind that we're going to be sticking to these kind of drums and not the 808s or the drum machines or electronic percussion or even acoustic percussion, because that's just way too many options for us to explore within the scope of this video. We're just going to stick to a standard drum kit. We're not going to be programming metal, jazz and stuff right now. If you want me to teach you how to program genre-specific drums such as jazz, hip-hop, rock or even metal, then hit me down in the comments below and I will eventually upload a video that addresses each of these genres bit by bit. Likewise, if you want me to teach you how to program 808s or the sick grooves with the electronic percussion like 808s and 909s, etc., then hit me in the comment section and I will create a tutorial just for you. Alright, before we begin, here are a few things that you need to know about the drums. 1. Know your drum terminology. There are 2 kinds of drums. The first consists of a wooden frame and a plastic skin, which is held in place with a pair of metal rims that are bolted down to the shell, and resonating metal plates which are called cymbals. A standard drum kit consists of a kick drum, a snare, a hi-hat, a pair of toms, a floor tom, a ride cymbal, and a crash. In addition to these, different parts of the drum kit may be struck, like for example rims on the snare or on the kick, or the bells of certain cymbals to create more interesting sounds. Two, know your time signatures. Time signatures are the key to making sense of what you hear from the various rhythms around you. I won't get into much details explaining time signatures, as that's just a whole nother video. Instead, I will link a video in the description to a YouTube video that I think explains time signatures pretty clearly. And if you want to check it out, pause this video and check the other video out and come back here. I'll be waiting. In this video, I'll be using a less conventional time signature called 12/8. That's 12 eighth notes in a bar, and it sounds something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and takita, 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 takita. Full Indian mode. Yeah, that's how we do it here. 3. It goes without saying that drummers have only 2 hands and 2 feet. Keep that in mind, as you can't have unrealistic drum grooves in which 5 drums are played together at the same time, or 6 drums. That just makes no sense unless an octopus is playing. Cue that weird scene from Aquaman. In a standard right-handed drum kit, the right foot is used to play the kick drum, the left foot is used to close the hi-hat. Now, what's special about the hi-hats is they consist of 2 cymbals that can open and close vertically. When they're closed, they make a very staccato sound, but when they're opened, they can ring out. Your left hand is usually what plays the snare, and your right hand is what you usually use to play your ostinatos, which is often played on either the hi-hat or on the right cymbal. An ostinato is a repeating phrase that ties in your kick and your snare to create a cohesive groove. This is what it sounds like. Remember, you can even have the ostinato playing on the snare drum as well. Here's what that sounds like. And finally, drummers can do wacky stuff like bouncing the sticks against the skins of the... Wow, that sounds really, really wrong. Bouncing the drumsticks against the drum skins to make a kind of a drum roll like sound is what that sounds like. Now that we're all caught up, let's dive right into it. All right, guys, we're back again, and here we are right where we left off about 10 seconds ago from the previous video. Here are our drums, right? This is FBC, which is FL Studio's native drums plugin. Nothing fancy, but I like the sound it has. This is the bass kit. I've not done anything to it. I'm just going to leave it as it is. Let's see what we can do with it, right? So let's get into piano roll. And we do that by just double clicking it here. That varies according to your DAW. Remember this bass line? So we're going to have to mute this so we can focus on the bass line. Nice. Let's get right into it. Okay. Now I kind of imagine the groove being something like this. Boom, bap, boom, boom, bap, boom, bap. Boom, boom, bap, boom, bap, boom, boom, bap, boom, bap, boom, boom, bap, bap. Something like that, all right? So what I'm going to do is program just that idea in. Those elements, as I like to call them. Right, those drums sound a little tame, so we're going to have to decrease the volumes of everything else and increase our output volume accordingly. Okay, I don't need the metronome because I kind of know the count already. Okay, but for your reference, I'll actually just leave it on. Straightforward, right? I want these snares accented and loud. So what I'm going to do is select these and double them into this. This is a rim shot. These are the nice loud snares that we want. I want these kicks also super loud. This is a hard groove. Okay, now the next thing we're gonna first deal with the kick. All right, we're gonna select our kick and we're going to duplicate it and we're gonna soften it. right here on this third count. This is again where our 12/8 groove kicks in. This is what's special about it. Pun unintended, by the way. Just give this a listen, by the way. Let's solo this channel right here. Do you notice how, what would happen if this was as loud? If it's a little softer on the other hand, right? So we're actually going to double this so we can listen to it longer. And we've got to be doing that anyway at some point. We're going to copy these. You don't need these. All right. So yeah, every alternative time we can have these, this leading kick. I don't know what it's called exactly. All right, it's important to remember that our drummer only has 4 limbs. Right now, his right foot and his left hand are being engaged. This is assuming the drummer's right-handed, of course. Now, let's fill in those counts. Right, let's do that. I'll just copy this here. Let's listen to how this sounds with respect to our bass groove, right? Sounds good, but let's try something more interesting. Let's try something called syncopation. Notice instead of having this on every count, what I'm doing is I'm having it at every alternate subdivision. So there are 6 of these in a bar. Interesting. Let's flesh it out and give it a listen. You know what we're going to do for this turnaround? Oh, have a nice open hi-hat over here. This hi-hat is very soft, so nice. Okay. Now, this sounds good, but it's not interesting enough. What we're going to do is now have the left hand, so the right hand, our right leg is playing the kick, our right hand is playing the hi-hat, and our left hand is playing the snare. So we're going to have accents. We're going to have, so this is what's called an ostinato. Right? This is what kind of fills up the groove. The main groove is the boom, pap, boom, pap. But the tick, 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 that is the ostinato. We're going to have another one on the left hand. So it's like ticka, 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 ticka. Right? So what we're going to do is we're going to double this and soften the velocity. What is that? Okay, so that doesn't sound very realistic. When your drummer is playing the accent snare, he needs some time to recover. He can't be like pop up, like hitting the snare twice. It's very awkward, it's very difficult. If you play drums, you'll know how hard that is. So if there'll be a break there, ta 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 ta. That's what he's gonna do. So it's gonna be, there's going to be a break, a slight break over there. So we're going to have to emphasize that break right after the snare hits, right? And we already have one here. Okay, and here what we're going to do is have him play the snare with both his hands. Do a roll over here, a fill. Yep. And our groove is already starting to sound really nice. Nice, nice. So you can also do this with something like the side sticks. And we can just... Not bad. But what I'm going to do actually is move all these softer snares to the side stick. The side stick is when the drummer plays the snare, instead of playing it on the main part of the snare, he plays it on the side. I think studio version of me would have explained this already, but that's just a reminder. Nice. We're going to double this. It doesn't fit with what was played, right? The bass. So we want that ta-ta. We want that sound. So what we're going to do is... That's nice. Yeah, we don't want these too loud. Nice. And there we have a very simple groove. As for how this sounds with the synth, by the way, nice, nice, nice. We're going to soften these also. It's a bit loud. Have you noticed that there are no conflicting notes over here? It sounds super mechanical and machine gun like. We don't want a drum sounding like a machine gun, you know? So this is what an organic programming of drums sounds like. It's quite simple. Nice. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this one step further, split and double this. We're going to merge this with the merge pattern clips. Merge pattern clips. Why isn't there a shortcut for this already? Okay, so I want the second half to start off a little more interesting. So I'm going to have everything stop here. So what we're going to do is delete these and go to the basics. Remove these, right? We just want that kick and the snare. So let's have two crashes over here. Right? This is more for right cymbal, but we'll use it as a crash here. Nice. Nice. What are we going to do with the bass? Let's do something really cool here. Yeah, that can't be there. Nice. That crash and that ride are really loud. I'm going to decrease the volumes of those just in case, yeah, we can leave those. I want the second section to be a little different with respect to these, with respect to what we're doing here. So I'm going to move these. Here's a bit of a plot twist. To where the light ride is. Nice, but it doesn't sound very nice. So I'm going to move these to where the hi-hats used to be. So this is where you have the drummer playing the ride with his right hand and the hi-hat with his left hand. And when he wants to hit the snare, something like that, you know? Super interesting. I can have this be a little louder, actually. To close this one, actually we're gonna just add a pedal hi-hat there and like make it super soft. No, maybe not quite. Nice. We're gonna actually do that everywhere this appears because it sounds a little strange otherwise. So what does this sound like? There we go. That sounds really nice and really fun. So let's put a pin on it over here because I think any more than this will be a little bit overwhelming. But that's how I programmed a 12/8 groove, bass and drums and make it super dancey and super nice and super enjoyable to listen to and super interesting and different at the same time. Whoa, what's that? My face looks different. No mustache. Well, I actually recorded the intro to the first tutorial and the tutorial in rapid succession a few weeks ago, and then I recorded the drums tutorial, and then I had to wait to publish my song or until a tentative date was selected. And that's why I look like this. My hair's grown, hashtag quarantine hair, and I have a mustache now. Get used to it. I actually did another tutorial for programming the bass. If you haven't checked that out, that's the previous video. It's part 4. It's going to be there in the playlist right next to this one. This drum tutorial was created as part of a 2-part promotion for my upcoming track, Kiki. Here's a sneak preview. Oh, and if you haven't already, hit that like button if you like this video and get subscribed if you haven't already so that you don't miss my up and coming videos. Until then, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. I hope you guys really liked my evil pose this whole time. I didn't even realize my hands were doing that. And then when I started out the video recording it like this, I kind of had to keep my hands glued like this for the rest of the video. Note to self for the next one. Too lazy to re-record this anyway.